Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Nimisha Jadhav, working as an assistant professor in School of Studies in Environmental Chemistry, Jivaji University, Gwalior. Today we shall learn about the physical parameter of water, which comes under the paper of environmental analysis. The learning objective of this module includes all the physical parameters of water analysis with determination of color, transparency, temperature, odor and taste, then turbidity and electrical conductivity and the solids that are present in the water, as well as we have also discussed here the environmental significance of determining all these physical parameters. Now first we have started what is physical analysis, why we are doing this physical examination of water. As we all know that water is the essential part of our life, and for the healthy life we should have a pure drinking water supply for every human and animal life. So that's why we are doing time to, but nowadays the environmental pollution is increases drastically and it will all pollute all the natural sources of water. That's why the examination of these water bodies are very much essential to identify the such kind of pollutants, minimize the amount of this pollutant so that it will be suitable for the drinking purposes. And physical parameters, physical characteristics of water are the first noticeable either by the visually or by the senses. So the physical parameters are those parameters which can be easily we can identify by using our senses. As we all know that for the drinking purpose, or we can say the potable water should be free from any color and odor, and water also be free from any salt like silt, clay and bacteriological material, algal growth also make the water turbid. So that the physical examination is a very important parameters prior to starting any other analysis of water and water analysis. That's why first we have started the examining the physical parameter of water like color, transparency, odor and taste, turbidity, solids particle, conductivity and their temperature. So in this module first we have firstly we have started with the first parameter, physical parameter of determination, that is color. So let's start with the one physical parameter, that is color. The color appear in the natural water system due to the presence of humic acids, fulvic acids, metallic ions, suspended matter, planktons, weeds and industrial effluents. Color is removed to make water suitable for general and industrial application and is determined by visual comparison of sample with distilled water. Visual comparison method. Now we have discussed here visual comparison method. In this method, about 20 ml of sample we have taken and 20 ml of distilled water were taken into two separate wide mouthed test tubes. The results were tabulated as clear, greenish, grayish, brownish, blackish, etc. by comparing the color of the sample with distilled water. There are two types of color, true color or apparent color. True color is the color which is present due to the presence of fine colloidal particles. These particles are present in the water in the homogenized medium, so that for the determination of true color, the centrifugation of the sample is must to remove any kind of turbidity. The second is the apparent color. An apparent color appear in the water due to the presence of both the suspended and the dissolved particle. So this kind of color determination did not require any centrifugation step. The standard method of color determination involve the use of standard color solution method. In this method we have taken the potassium chloroplatinate and the cobaltous chloride for comparing the color of the wastewater sample, and we can determine the color either by the visually or by using the photoelectric meter. The second method that we have used for the color determination is platinum cobalt method. The principle of this method is the color is determined by visual comparison of sample with known concentration of colored solution. Color is expressed in terms of Hessian by 1 milligram per liter of platinum in the form of chloroplatinic acid in the presence of 2 milligram per liter of cobaltous chloride hexahydrate. The component should be determined by the photoelectric methods. The major interference during the determination of color is the turbidity, which interfere when it present in excess of 5 milligram per liter, and it can be removed prior to the determination by the centrifugation. The reagents required for it is, first one, we have to prepare the stock standard color solution. It is prepared by dissolving 1.246 gram potassium chloroplatinate plus 1 gram cobaltous chloride hexahydrate and make up to the mark with distilled water. And in this solution we have add 100 ml of concentrated HCl and make up to the mark with 1000 ml by using the distilled water. And in this solution, its 1 ml is equal to 500 Hessian units. Now, after the standard solution, we have prepared the working standard solution also. For that, we have to take a various amount of this stock solution, like for preparing the standard solution of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 up to and 70, we have diluted the amount of 0.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 6 and 7 ml of stock color solution with distilled water in 50 ml in Nassler tube. We have discussed about the procedure. The first one method is the field method. In this method, the platinum cobalt standard is not convenient for field. The color of sample may be compared with that of the glass disc held at the end of the metallic tube containing glass comparator tube of the sample and colorless distilled water. Calibrate every individual disc against standard color on platinum cobalt scale. Match the color of the sample with color of disc viewed looking towards a white surface. The method is recognized as a standard field procedure. The laboratory method is also known as visual comparison. In this method, we have observed the color of a sample by filling a matching tube 250 ml, mark with the water to be examined and compare it with the standard. Look vertically downward through the tube towards a white surface. If turbidity is not removed, report the color as apparent color. If color exceeds 70 units, dilute the sample with distilled water until the color is within the range of standard. Because the color is related to the pH, the measurement of pH of each sample is also required and it is reported when we report the result. Now we have done the calculation by using the formula color unit is equal to A into 50 divided by B, where A is the estimated color of a diluted sample, B is the ml of sample taken for dilution, and we have report the color in whole number, and along with that pH of the water sample also reported to accurate our results. The third one method is the photoelectric method of color determination. In this method, filter the sample through a glass fiber filter paper to remove any turbidity, and after that measure the OD with the spectrophotometer at a wavelength between the 385 to 470 nanometer, or absorption meter with a suitable filter using 10 millimeter cell with filter water in reference cell. From the calibration graph, we can determine the color of the sample. Record the color as the nearest whole number. Now we have discussed the significance of the color determination. The determination of color is rapid one and is useful in the detecting a change in the character of water. When water from the same source river are being regularly examined, the variation in color often serves as an indices of its quality. Generally, yellow color indicates the presence of appreciable amount of organic matter and sometimes chromium. Regarding sewage, the color is usually not determined. However, it is an important constituent of industrial effluent and it has to be determined, particularly in the industrial effluents. The next physical parameter is the temperature. Temperature play a very important role in wetland dynamics and affecting the various parameters such as alkalinity, salinity, dissolved oxygen, electrical conductivity, etc. In an aquatic system, these parameters affect the chemical and biological reaction such as solubility of oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbonates, bicarbonate equilibrium, increase in metabolic rate and physiological reactions of organisms. The water temperature is important in relation to fish life. The temperature of drinking water has an influence on its taste also. So the determination of temperature is must for the further chemical analysis as well as for the finding out the life supporting system of the aquatic life. The apparatus required for this temperature determination is the thermometer, that is 1 degree Celsius division, and the procedure is the temperature measurement is made by taking a portion of the water sample round about the 1 liter and immersing the thermometer into it for a sufficient period of time till the reading is stabilized and the reading is taken and expressed as in degrees Celsius. The significance of determining temperature is that the surface water vary considerably in temperature between the winter and summer. In well supplies, temperature is more equable the air around. Regarding spring, the higher the temperature, the deeper the source from which it emerges. Temperature reading are helpful in calculation of various forms of alkalinity. They are most useful in industrial water supplies for process use or heat transmission calculation. Temperature measurements are also useful in detecting an unsuspended sources of pollution. The next physical parameter is transparency, or we can say the light penetration. The solar radiation is the major source of light energy in an aquatic system governing the primary productivity. Transparency is a characteristic of water that varies with the combined effect of color and turbidity. It measures the light penetrating through the water body and is determined by using Secchi disk. The apparatus required for determining the transparency is the Secchi disk, a metallic disc of 20 cm diameter with 4 quadrats of alternate black and white on a upper surface. The disc with centrally placed weight at the lower surface is suspended with a graduated cord at the center. Now we have discussed the procedure. The transparency is measured by gradually lowering the Secchi disk at respective sampling points. The depth at which it disappears in the water is denoted as x1 and reappears is denoted as x2. The transparency of water body is computed by using the formula, that is transparency equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2, where x1 is the depth at which the Secchi disk disappear and x2 is the depth at which the Secchi disk reappear. The next physical parameter is turbidity. The turbidity is an expression of optical property and is measured by using the nephelometer. Suspended and colloidal matter such as clay, silt, finely divided organic and inorganic matters, planktons and other microscopic organisms causes turbidity in water. Turbidity affects light scattering, absorption properties and aesthetic appearance in the water body. Increase in the intensity of scattered light results in higher value of turbidity. The apparatus required for the determination of turbidity is the nephelometer. It detects the scattered light at 90 degree to the incident beam of light. It consists of a light source for illuminating the sample, one or more photoelectric detectors with a display unit indicate the intensity of light scattered at 90 degree to the path of incident light. Sample size, lab glassware and balance are required for the determination of turbidity. The working principle of nephelometric measurement is based on the comparison of the intensity of scattered light of the sample with the intensity of light scattered by a standard reference suspension, generally a formazine polymer, under the similar condition. The reagent required for this is the distilled water and stock primary formazine suspension. The solution 1 we have prepared by dissolving 1 gram of hydrogen sulfate in 100 ml of distilled water, and the solution 2 is prepared by the 10 gram of hexamethylene tetraamine is dissolved in the distilled water and made up to the mark with up to the 100 ml in the volumetric flask. The stock turbidity suspension prepared by the 5 ml of solution 1 and 2 are mixed in a volumetric flask and allowed to stand for 24 hours at about 25 degrees centigrade and diluted to this solution up to 100 ml with the distilled water to give a 400 NTU suspension. NTU is the unit of determining turbidity. The standard turbidity suspension prepared by taking the 10 ml of the stock solution is diluted to the 100 ml with distilled water to give a standard solution of 40 NTU. Now we have discussed the procedure of the turbidity determination. The nephelometer is calibrated by using the distilled water. Its turbidity is 0 NTU and the standard turbidity suspension of 40 NTU. The thoroughly shake sample is taken in the nephelometer tube and the value is recorded. The turbidity is expressed as is equal to nephelometer reading into the dilution factor. If the turbidity of the sample is more than 40 NTU, then the sample is diluted and the dilution factor is accounted in the final calculations. Electrical conductivity of a water is the ability of a water to carry out the currents. It varies both with the ions present in the water, what types of ion present in the water and how much amount of ions present in the water. So the electrical conductivity is directly proportional to the ionized mineral matter present in the water. As the most of the mineral matters present in the water are in the inorganic form, so that we can say all the inorganic mineral material which are present in the water in the ionized form carry out the conductivity of the water sample. Rough estimation of dissolved ionic contents of water sample can be done by multiplying specific conductance in microsiemens per centimeter by an empirical factor which may vary from 0.55 to 0.9 depending on the soluble components of water and on the temperature of measurement. The conductivity measurement gives rapid and practical estimate of the variation in the dissolved mineral contents of a water supply. This procedure. The conductivity measurement is affected by the nature of various ions, ionic concentration, ionic strength of the water, dissolved carbon dioxide, turbidity and the temperature. For the precise work, the conductivity must be determined at temperature 25 degrees Celsius. Most of the instruments which are available commercially for the determination of conductivity are made up of a source of alternating current, a Wheatstone bridge and a null detector. these instruments based on the principle of Wheatstone bridge, where the presence of iron creates the imbalance of any arms of Wheatstone bridge, so it will detect as a current, and this deflection in current is directly proportional to the concentration of iron present in the water. For the determination of the conductivity, there is a mounted cell. Two cells are available where the ions present in between these two cells are determined as a conductivity of the water. The all conductivity meter which are present available commercially having their own cell constant, so that we can use this cell constant particularly about the specific for the instrument which are available for the conductivity determination. Here this is a table of different concentration of standard which is prepared for the conductivity determination and their specific conductance. For example, 0.001 millimoles per centimeter solution of KCl having the specific conductance of 14.94 micromoles per centimeter, and 0.001 ppm solution having the specific conductance 147, then 0.01 having the conductance 1413 and onwards. So after standardizing the instrument by using the such standard of KCl, and we can get the desired conductance, so that we can say the instrument functioning properly, and after that we can determine the conductivity of wastewater sample or the any other water sample. They keep the electrode immersed in the distilled water so that their functionality ions conducted between the electrode have to immersed always in the distilled water to maintain the conductivity between the electrode, and the result expressed as millisiemens per meter or the microsiemens per centimeter at temperature 25 degrees centigrade. Now we have discussed about the application of electrical conductivity. Electrical conductivity measurement determine the how much amount of dissolved salts present in the water. If we examine the flowing water periodically time to time, so that we can identify the change in the dissolved salts content in the particular water body. So the conductivity measurement in very much important to identify the dissolved solids present in the water, as well as the determination of conductivity is also required for the identification of conductivity, also required for identifying the quantity of sample needed for the further chemical analysis of other parameters. The conductivity is a basis of check the purity of water, and particularly it is very important parameter of determining the distilled water and the boiler feed water and the steam purity of power industry. Generally distilled water having a conductivity within the range of 0.5 to 2 micromoles per centimeter cube. The electrical conductivity above 2 should not be used for the water analysis or any kind of analysis for the preparation as a preparation water. The next physical parameter of water is the solids. All solids are measured gravimetrically except satellable solids by volume and total dissolved solid by specific conductance. Total solid is the residue that includes both the dissolved solid and suspended solids. The amount and nature of the dissolved and undissolved matter occurring in liquid material vary considerably. The determination of dissolved and undissolved matter is made with filtered and unfiltered portions of samples. The undissolved matter are usually referred to as suspended solids. The common practice of determination of solid is to evaporate a suitable volume of the sample in a tare dish and drying at 105 degrees centigrade, followed by weighing. The increase in weight represents the amount of solids. For evaporation, dishes of 50 to 250 ml capacity are employed, and we have taken various dishes. Depends on the what type of sample we have taken. Here we have seen that when we take a plain potable water, so we are using the platinum dish, and for sewage purposes we are using the porcelain or silica dish, and for the industrial effluent, porcelain dish is preferable for the solid determination. Now we discuss the drying temperature. It is enough to dry the residue at 103 to 105 degrees centigrade. The advantage of drying at this temperature is that the loss of organic matter by volatilization is much less. The recommended temperature for potable water is 179 to 189 degrees centigrade, at which almost all the mechanically occultated water, and though most of the water of the crystallization are removed. Organic matters is reduced by volatilization, though not completely destroyed. Bicarbonates are converted to carbonates, which in turn are also decomposed partially to oxidized or basic salts. Some chloride and nitrate salts are also may be lost. It should be noted that if the sample of water contain considerable amount of organic matter or its pH is above the 9, the drying temperature should be 179 to 181 degrees centigrade. When reporting the sample, indicate the drying temperature also, because it is a correlated parameter with the dissolved solids. Regarding sewage and other wastewater, generally the temperature 103 to 105 degrees centigrade is preferred, and volatile solids are determined separately using the temperature 550 degrees centigrade. For the determination of various types of solids, first of all we have taken the sample, that is normally about the 50 ml of the sample, and evaporate. When we evaporate whole the sample in an oven at the temperature of 103 to 105 degrees centigrade, then the difference in the weight before taking the sample and after evaporating the sample is termed as a total solids. And when we take the sample and then filter it by the Imhoff cone, and after that we will burn the sample into 105 to 103 degrees centigrade, and difference in the weight is known as the satiable solids. When the sample, if we when we take the sample and filter it by the glass fiber filter, and the evaporation of that filtrate is termed as a total dissolved solid, and the amounts which are present on the filter paper, then we will evaporate that filter paper, then evaporate at these filter paper, and take the weight difference between prior to taking the filtrate and after the filtration, then this amount difference in amount is known as the total suspended solids. And these total suspended solid again heat up at 500 degrees centigrade in muffle oven, then the solids that are volatilized at that temperature is termed as the volatile suspended solid, and the residue that is remaining after burning is known as fixed suspended solids. And similarly, when we take the total dissolved solid, put the total dissolved solid in the muffle oven at the same temperature, that is 500 degrees centigrade, then the substance which are volatilized is known as volatile dissolved solid, and the residue remaining after that is known as the fixed dissolved solids. And this volatile suspended solids and volatile dissolved solids comprisingly made up the total volatile solids, and the fixed dissolved solids and the fixed suspended solids is comprised as the total fixed solids. So with a single amount of sample we can determine the whole types of solids by using the different temperature, and we can identify the various types of solids present in the water. Now the last one physical parameter is order and taste. No water can be quite satisfactory for domestic and industrial purposes if it possesses any odor. Disagreeable odor and taste in water are due to the presence of a variety of objectionable substances. Living microscopic organisms or decay vegetation including algae, actinomycetes, bacteria, fungi and weeds are responsible for various odor and taste. Sewage and industrial water also contributes taste and odor to receiving waters. Where heavy pollution by sewage or industrial effluent occur, the odor may be more marked and offensive. The commonest form of objectionable odor in streams and other water bodies is attributed to the presence of small amounts of sulfides. The extent of odor depends upon the pH of water. The lower the pH, the higher will be the amount of hydrogen sulfide produced. The presence of inorganic and organic compounds of nitrogen, sulfur and phosphorus, and the putrefaction of protein, and they all contribute the pungent smell of hydrogen sulfide. Other organic materials present in the sewage and in a trade waste are causes of odor in polluted rivers. Many of the industrial effluent containing organic substances such as phenolic alcohols, esters, aldehydes, ketones and sulfur compounds possess characteristic odors and are imparted to receiving water. The common odors of surface water in lakes, rivers and impounding reservoir may be described as earthy, weedy, musty, decaying vegetables smell, etc. The large volumes of water in lakes and raw water storage reservoir are affected by algae growth, and these algae have characteristics of peculiar odor, and the odor are transmitted the water. For example, the protozoa Dinobrion imparts a fishy odor to water. The algae Anabaena having a strong grassy odor, and the liberation of traces of essential oils from the algae is the reason for odor production. Microorganisms of certain types are reported for water supply, and growth of iron and sulfur bacteria may also cause offensive odor. The presence of colloidal vegetable in surface matter, a faint flavor, is generally described as peaty or vegetable odor. Significance of quantitative determination of odor is to carried out because it is associated with our aesthetic point of view. For that, we have collect the sample in glass water and determine the odor as soon as possible after sample collection. Do not use plastic containers for collection of sample for odor test because they also having some pungent smell. So for that we have to prefer a glass container for the odor determination. After that place 250 ml of the sample in a 500 ml wide mouth earthenware flask at the room temperature and sniff the odor. This is called the cold odor quality. And after that, the place 250 ml sample in 500 ml stoppered conical flask and heat to about 58 to 80 degrees centigrade and remove the stopper and sniff the odor. Report the nature and type of the odor. Report the temperature also at which the observation are made. A list showing the qualitative description of the odor is the aromatic, chemical, chlorinaceous hydrocarbon, medicinal, sulfurated, disagreeable, fishy, septic, earthy, peaty, grassy, musty, moldy, and vegetable smell. The intensity of odor is expressed in terms of threshold odor number. The order determination are useful in many respects because they may be used as a check on the quality of raw and treated watershed. It is also useful in determining the effectiveness of deodorizing procedure as means of tracing contamination or leak in industrial processes. Order determination is must for that. And if we are talking about the taste is always accompanied by the odor. Hence the studies regarding the odor hold the good for the taste also. So in this module we have learned about we have learned the difference between the pure water and the wastewater. And as we all the parameters are determined physically, so that we can identify all these parameters, the water is suitable for drinking purposes or not, as by visually or by using our senses. But these experimental techniques are required to identify such physical parameter, so that it could be a basis of further biological and chemical analysis of water. Thank you.